love it when you come in late and then you hit the record button because you're the chief. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Ones Ready Team Room. That's what happens. That's how you steal the intro. You pretend like you're waiting for the record thing to happen, and then you just hop in and you start talking about stuff. What's up, boys? Good to see you. Got Peaches, got Trent here in the team room. Want to say thanks to everybody. We're doing great on the numbers. The analytics look great. The algorithm is just eating up the content. So make sure to leave a comment. The comment section is always great and completely cancer-free. Every time I look at it, I just think to myself, I'm spending good parts of my adult life reading these comments because they're really, really good. And I like all of them. So I just want to say thanks to everybody. And that's going to really set the tone for this episode. So you think to yourself, what do I come here for? Why am I in the team room today? What am I listening to? We found a bunch of reasons not to join. Trent, what I want to open it up with you, right? We were talking about it last night on the group chat. We were really getting some good ideas. And you said, Aaron, I want to talk about reasons not to join. Right. Where did that idea come from? Trent, over to you.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that just can't because they have so much self-respect that if they were in basic training and someone disrespected them, they would just see red and they'd start knocking people out. So, like, I understand that to a certain extent now that I have self-respect. Obviously, it grew over the years. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to, like, just join and end up being a criminal and thrown into the military justice system, you know, because you have self-respect. So that's a good reason to not join right there off the bat.
That's a great point. You know, that takes a lot of the population out right away. So the other part of that population, and I'm going to make up a bunch of statistics during this one so that I sound smart. So about 40% of the population would just see red and bodies would hit the floor just right away. Like if a drill sergeant got in their face, like that's about 40% of the population. There's another 10% that you kind of left out there. And it's people that the second that they start training, the CIA starts recruiting them, right? So that's what happens with those other 10% of the people is that they get to basic training, but they only go through about 4 weeks before somebody from the farm shows up to their basic training flight and starts asking about them. And then they go dark. So that's 50% of the population right there. Peaches, I can just see on your face how you don't want to be part of this thing that Trent and I have roped you into.
I just see it, how far we're going to take it. I mean, because, man, there are a lot of people that you hear are like, man, I dare a drill instructor to get in my face. Oh, yeah. You know,
that sounded like a mix between the Macho Man Randy Savage and the movie Step Brothers. Yeah, it was a perfect. You walked the line perfectly. I'm never calling him sergeant, not even if there's a fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, tough guy. Got it.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, I mean, those are good reasons not to join as a civilian. Anyway, it's you're way more comfortable. I'll tell you that much. Your parents and everybody around you, they're probably right. Trent, how important is it to listen to naysayers and haters and trolls in your life? How important? I think they hold a lot of weight.
Well, if your entire ego is based on what other people think about you, and also I do think it's important to listen to your parents. You know, you don't want to take the chance to not listen to them because you're not going to make it anyway. So I think it's a good idea. And why would you leave your comfort zone? You know, like our entire society is based on seeking out more comfort. And like, it's America. America's the greatest country on earth. We seek comfort. Why would you go out of your way to A, not listen to people, and B, you know, put yourself in uncomfortable situations that are not going to work out for you anyway?
Yeah, it just feels disrespectful to me. You know, if you decided to go your own way to really try to make your own life as an independent person that wants to chase something bigger, and how lame is that? Caring about something bigger? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I can't even believe you would care. Peaches doesn't care. He's just living his life, baby.
Okay, now we know that's satirical. Yeah,
he's just out here trying to make E10. He doesn't care about you.
Trying to make E10, says the man.
You know who's not going to make E10? Well, last night, here I am at a senior NCO induction ceremony that I got asked to speak at for whatever reason, because everybody seems to think that just because you're on a podcast that you can automatically are amazing at public speaking. I'm not great at public speaking. I am, as an ad hoc, you know, shooting from the hip, I can do it all day long, comfortable with it, and I actually prefer it. But if I'm in a formal setting and I have to have a speech to keep people entertained, because we've all both, you know, all of us have been there where we're in an event and there's just a boring speaker that just bangs on and on and on, right? So trying to be entertaining, I'm just not good at that, right? And then And then you get up there and you say, hey, thanks to everybody. My biggest goal up here is not to embarrass my wife. And I told her I wouldn't cuss a bunch. But fuck it, we're doing it. So
Found the clown horn.
yeah,
And we found the clown. I love the clown horn.
So
man.
yeah. No,
my favorite part about the clown horn too is like we beeped out, like on the Eric Ballister episode, we beep out a certain thing, right? So we beep it out because we understand that there are like things that we can't really have on the podcast. And then the first thing that people do is hop up in the comment section and type out the thing.
This is like, what they said.
Hey guys, yeah, no, we get it. We know what it is. You know what it is. But there's like a game here that we're trying to play. So could you figure it out? No, you're just completely naive to the. Oh, okay, tight. No, good on you. +1 internet point. You knew what he said. Is it because you could read lips? Is that why? Okay, tight. Oh, good job. Super dope. I do love the public speaking things. People do assume that, you have a podcast and you speak, a whole bunch in your off time or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, you're a good public speaker. No, I just BS with my bros. We just hit record and say the same things that we do on the group chat. Well, not the same things we do on the group chat. There's some different things that happen on the group chat, but
for sure.
we just record it. That's all we do. It's not like, there's no plan to this. We don't know what we're doing.
So to Trent's point, I am not making E10. There is no E10.
I love that one. Still hurts, right?
Yeah, because you guys have been really playing to that, and it's not bothering me, but it's at the same time I'm like, it's not bothering me, but it's at the same time I'm also going like, fuck, they're right.
Well, I was going to make a short joke earlier. I was going to say you actually did swing at your drill instructor, but it didn't even.
He just held his little forehead. he just held his at arm's reach. He's like, no, like the physical standards, they're too high anyway. Like the IFT, like, so first of all, the standards thing is another reason why you shouldn't join. So not only have we changed the standards, we always change the standards, right? Like we're trying to lower the standards. We're trying to get as many people in. Like that's just true. But the standards, even though we lowered them for you specifically, they're still too high. You still can't do it. So why try? You're never going to be able to get there.
Peaches, what are the stats on how many people make it? I think this is your lane.
On how many people make it through? Right now, the selection rate was hovering between 87 and 89%. Attrition rate, I'm sorry, not make it through.
Yeah. So your failure rate, 90%. And I bet it's always been close to that. It's always been between like 91 and 87%. There's no chance. Like, there's no chance. Why would you even do that? You're just going to go and you're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to be less of a person. And that's if you can even get in to the IFT, like the IFT standards. Like we hear about it all the time in the comments. Oh, the standards are lower. They're not what they used to be. You still can't make it. It's still 87%. So why even try? You're just setting yourself up for failure. You might as well just do something comfortable, man. Like don't bother.
Yeah. Well, it goes to the point of, hey, do you think I can do this? Or do you think, I don't know. Can you do it? Because if you're questioning yourself right now, I tend to think, no, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's
no, with that body fat percentage of those brittle bones of yours. No, you can't.
Those brittle bones. That's just facts, baby. If you're an American male in between 18 and 22 years old right now, you have 40% less testosterone and bone density than our generation did. And I'm not saying we're better, but we're better. I don't know what to tell you. We are better. We're smarter. We're better. We're stronger. We're faster. We're better looking. We have better hair. There's no way that you could take your whole generation on your back and do something that's never been done before. We did it with GWAT, but there ain't no more GWAT, baby. What are you going to do? Go on training trips to the Bahamas and teach the indigenous people CPR? Because that's all you got left. Better learn how to walk that runway, buddy. You know how much an AMP-4 weighs? You're gonna.
Oh, man. What is it that show, The Boys?
Yes.
Where he's like, I'm better than you.
I am better. Hilarious. Yeah. So just reasons that you're not going to be able to join, man. Like, first of all, you won't make it. Second of all, your brittle bones will probably break and have like little bird bones just absolutely snap. The people that are teaching you the coaches and the psychologists and the nutritionists and the dietitians and everybody that has combat experience that just pour themselves into you day after day after day. They don't really know what they're talking about. These world-class facilities with float tanks and the biggest CrossFit gym that you've ever seen, and you have like 4 of them. You have Beaver Fit everywhere, built up for a $90 million enterprise. That's not really that good. Colleges, they probably got better stuff. You've seen
why work for it?
Why work for it? Why earn it? Trent's seen everything down at Lackland. Lackland, well, it's Joint Base San Antonio now because we got to change everything. Joint Base San Antonio. Trent, really, it's the worst. I bet it's always too hot out.
It is. And do you really want to be part of all of that fraud, waste, and abuse? Because all these people are trying so hard and we're buying all this equipment for what? For the same attrition rate as before. You're just part of the problem. We're just wasting money. So stop. I know your parents pay taxes. You probably don't yet because you don't have a job and you're just living off of them. But do the country a favor.
You would be better. Yeah.
And who wants to be part of a small cohesive team anyway? Really?
Not me. Everybody knows all of your bad parts then, and they can make fun of you, right? Like if you're vulnerable and you open up and you make some of the best friends that you'll ever make in the pipeline and beyond, like these people, who wants to share adversity? Who wants to look to their right when they are literally blood, sweat, and tears on your face, right? There are times where you are, no kidding, at your physical, mental, and emotional limit, and you look to your right and there is your best friend in the world that you didn't know was your best friend until 6 months ago. And you guys look at each other in a mud pit and you laugh hysterically because what a silly thing you're doing. I don't want to do that.
No.
I don't. Yeah.
I don't want to make a lifelong friend. No. That will absolutely drop everything for me. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I envision, the town and Ben Affleck rolls in on Jeremy Renner, It's like, hey, we're going to go hurt somebody and you can never ask me these questions. Whose guy we taking?
Yeah.
That.
Who would want that? Not me.
Not me.
People that just drop everything that they can to go to your wedding, or, when you're deployed and you're really worried about your family and you get a selfie from your best friend who went over to your house and made dinner and hung out with your kids and FaceTimed you to make sure that everything was okay. No, come on. That sounds gross.
But if you're in the Army, that's Jody. So
yeah,
oh my God,
I know where my brain went, and I was like,
that got so dark so quick.
That's not where Aaron's going with this, but I can't help it.
It wasn't, but I'm okay with it. I guess. Jesus H. Christ, what's happening? But even if, right, even if you don't listen to us on this episode, right, even if you actually get in and then you get through the pipeline, which highly unlikely, probably not going to happen, but you actually get to a unit. It doesn't matter anyway. Nobody knows what your job is, and nobody cares. Everybody knows what a SEAL is. Trent, what's a combat controller? Do you even know?
I have no idea.
No clue.
They wear, I don't know, some fashion of red. I don't know. The Air Force is weird. They have a million berets and no one knows what they do.
Nobody knows.
Like a seer guy? I don't know.
Absolutely not. The controllers, they're just mad all the time. I don't know why they're so angry, but they're always so pissed off at stuff. And then the PJs, they just got ropes and they're kicking around hacky sacks and being generally weirdos.
I'm so glad you mentioned hacky sacks. That is 100% true. The angry part is hilarious because that's for whatever reason is pretty true.
It is. It's a weird cultural thing, right?
Ever since you pulled out an doc.
Ever since
y'all been pissed.
Got a real inferiority complex.
Yeah. But PJs, carabiners, ropes, hacky sack, nailed it.
Just slinging pasta water, tying rope systems, wearing flippy floppies, making fun of their friends. That's essentially what they do. And special reconnaissance, we don't know. Your career field's dying anyway. There's no reason to get into SR. They just made it up. They can just delete it. You know what I mean? They can just be like, well, this little experiment didn't work. Click.
I don't understand how these guys just decided on their own to change the name, make up all these random capabilities that they're trying to do, wasting AFSW's money trying to go to these courses. It's stupid.
Well, especially when it was just a, hey, what's the Word document? Find, replace.
Right.
SAL-T, SR.
Right. It's really simple. Yeah.
That's all that happened.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't because we did, a decades long look at capabilities that the Air Force was going to need for the future fight, and then made a career field fit those capabilities. That's not it. It was really just a bunch of weather nerds that wanted to be cooler weather nerds. But then they backed themselves into going to selection, like idiots, you know?
Bunch of morons.
You could have just figured, right. Like Trent, you didn't go through any sort of pipeline.
That's true. So you shouldn't listen to me ever.
You shouldn't. No pipeline. You didn't do a single underwater, not a single set of over and backs ever in your life.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
How's that make you feel?
I'm
Tell
still
me
scared
about
of the water.
We know. We know.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a little bit lippy, and I'll just grab a glass of water and put it near your face. It's like hydrophobia. If you've ever seen somebody with rabies, and they, that's what Trent does around anything moist. Sometimes a sponge will set him off.
Yeah, I make up the whole story about almost joining the Marines because I found out that they live on boats sometimes and they're in the water.
Yeah,
that's the real reason that I went to the Air Force and I had to beg to get in. So
right,
I was like, "What's the easiest way to get into special operations? What's the biggest back door you got?" They're like, "Hey, we got this weather thing," and I was like, "I'm in."
I don't know why, but ever since Peaches broke the glass with the Jody comment, I've been thinking about inappropriate stuff. So you just said that you didn't want to go to the Navy and you were looking for a bigger back door. And I was like, there's a joke here somewhere. I just know it.
What are you talking about, Aaron?
I just know it. Well, that's another reason not to join, because no matter what, like you could be the coolest dude in the Air Force, you're still in the chair force. And you're still going to get made fun of. No matter what you do, people are like, "Oh, do you fly a plane? Oh, what's up, chair force? Nice bus driver hat. Yuck, 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 yuck."
I mean,
for a lifetime.
To be fair, the service dress uniform is terrible.
Okay, now you're not wrong. I will say,
like, all jokes aside, it is
all
awful.
jokes. Yeah. It is really bad. It needs a re-envisioning. I don't even know how to fix it. Mainly because I'm stupid and I'm not good at fashion. But the new army pinks and greens. Sheesh. Come on, my guy. Yeah. That thing looks great. Great. Looks like a World War II uniform. It just looks good. You're like, oh, wow, that's good. Another good reason not to join. The uniform.
Just
obviously.
The uniform.
Just the uniform alone. If there was a reason to go 0311 Marine Rifleman, just straight infantry, like no special schools, like, let's talk about it. Do you want to do Air Force Special Warfare, or do you just want to be just infantry Marine, right? I think the infantry Marine wins by about 100 points on a scale of 1 to 5 points. So here's why. So the uniform out the gate, already better. Basic training, harder. Commercials, better. You may have to fight a dragon. You don't know. The few, the proud, the Marines, great catchphrase. It's a great bumper sticker. You got the eagle, globe, and anchor, right? So what's better than a big old anchor and a bird of prey?
As a tattoo, it's way better than the Air Force symbol.
It looks way better on a huge chest tattoo that you have to get right away. That's week 9 of Marine basic training. It's right before the Crucible is the chest tattoo part. But the uniforms are better. All of your bros are cooler. Ask any Marine. They're obviously better than the Air Force. Just go to Camp Lejeune and just stand on a table and go, "I'm in the Air Force," and then watch what happens.
Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. They'll be terrified.
Nothing, unless they think you're in civilian clothes there and you're walking through in shorts and flip flops, and then for whatever reason, Gunny behind you tends to think that you are a devil dog.
Watch
so
out.
He continues behind you, going, "Hey, devil dog! Hey, devil dog!
Hey, devil!
You know?
Hey, devil! I can't help but notice you didn't shave on this Sunday, devil."
Yeah.
Which is a real thing, by the way.
You turn around and kind of go, "Hi," and they're like, "Oh, you're not a Marine." I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, I
didn't know you were talking to me either.
I was at JM, so I was at Static Line JM, beautiful Fort Benning, Georgia, and it was a recon dude, like a force recon dude, so not one of the MARSOC guys, but one of the force recon dudes was there, and he was like an E6 for them. I don't know what that is in the Marines. I think it might be a staff sergeant, but he, no kidding, came in. We were studying on a Sunday for one of the tests, and he, no kidding, came in. And he got tuned up in a parking lot because it was Sunday and he hadn't shaved. Like, he shaved on Saturday, but like it's obvious that he did that because he's a grown man. He grew facial hair. He had not shaved on that Sunday. and he went to get like an energy drink or something, and he, no kidding, got tuned up by some Marine gunny in a parking lot. And he was like, "Are you really yelling at me for not shaving on a Sunday?" And he was apparently, yes, he just lit him up. And I was just like, I was dumbfounded by this. I was like, oh my God.
They have standards, culture, and history, unlike the Air Force. I think that's a good thing,
right.
You know, that they actually hold the standard and they care about the standard. And actually, as an enlisted person, you're expected to do these things, and you have authority over other enlisted people. So it's another reason to join the Marine Corps, not the Air Force.
Right. Yeah, because we don't have that enlisted leadership. It doesn't exist. The other thing the Marine Corps has specifically is that sweet birthday party. That thing's a dang near national holiday, buddy.
Oh, it is.
Man, the Marine Corps birthday is sweet.
Yeah, so speaking of those commercials, this is random, and not that any of our listeners would hear this, but just because, you know, Donna watches British TV, so I get to see some of those commercials. Dude, the Royal Navy, Royal Marines, Royal Air Force, dude, their commercials are awesome.
Are they really?
They are really, really good.
Somebody get GDS&M on phone. We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? I just want to talk about commercials. Those are the commercial people. Guys,
advertising, recruitment. Well, that's it though.
The last AFSW War big commercial, right? Like, it's all about us like being in a tick and like firing rifles and all that other stuff, which news flash, y'all probably won't do. The odds of you getting a kill with your rifle are almost zero, especially now. So
right.
The Rangers over there, that's the place to be. If you want some direct eye-to-eye contact.
The problem with our career fields, other than they're dying and they're about to be deleted, combined, and thrown away, is that there's no possibility that you're going to stay on team long. Officers, forget it. Like, officers, you have like, you know, the meme of Abe Simpson. He like walks in, he puts his hat down, he does one small circle, and then he walks out, he puts his hat back on, and leaves. Officers, that's your team time. If you think that you're going to operate in any sense on the team as an officer, just stop. You'd be better figuring out Microsoft Excel. Just take a PowerPoint class and learn what font your boss wants, because that's what you're going to do. And then you're never going to be right anyway. So there's really no, I can't even believe they let officers assess. Like, why don't they just put them through business school and then directly onto the teams to fuck my life up for 2 years? Like, why don't they
actually learned how to update Adobe and to work those sheets and to like make it work between Adobe and Word and all that other stuff in Excel?
Yeah.
That would be super valuable, actually.
The only thing that they should issue officers is whatever weird hobby that they're going to have to talk to me about and pretend that I care about, and an Excel spreadsheet sort of class. Those are the two things that they should get, because then you can come interrupt my day to be like, well, I was windsurfing this weekend in my ultralight, and I couldn't help but notice there was a great bar with an IPA below me, so I flew on in, and then we biked home. I don't care. Did that get you, Peaches?
Specific. So specific.
Like, sir, you could just say that you make twice as much as I do. You didn't have to tell me that story.
Like doing these highly expensive hobbies. Like, I went and summited a mountain, and then afterwards we skied down to my chalet. Shut up. I don't care.
I don't know how Trent's holding this together the entire time. You have not busted character at all.
Because it's not funny. That's how. It's easy to keep a straight face when none of the jokes land.
Because we go for like a real one every once in a while. Like, straight out of the pipeline, what are the odds that you get a base that people want to go to? So another thing, we only have like a few bases you can go to. And I know everybody's like, I want to go to England right away. It's like, probably not.
No, you're not going there.
You're going to go to the place where it takes us like 6 sets of orders to get one E5 to go there, because everybody's punching out. So welcome to New Mexico.
Yeah, welcome to Canaan. Have fun. I hope you like it here. And don't worry, they're going to get rid of the 2-1 and the 2-2. So you're not even going to have those bases. They're just going to consolidate everything. And then you get to go hang out in Tucson, Arizona, where it's already unbelievably douchey down there. Like, there's already too many of us down there. There's already too many J's. Now we're going to throw controllers and SR guys down there. Recipe for disaster.
PJs
the police
insufferable.
The police blotter is going to be the most. That thing is going to hit the New York bestseller list. Every week, that thing is going to be the most read article on the internet. Is going to be the Tucson police blotter because the stories in there are going to be wild.
I'm sorry, these dudes did what to each other?
I'm sorry, what happened? Local Tucson 22-year-old male was found naked and tied to a tree with a series of very intricate knots, and everybody's like, looking at you, FTU. Jeez.
Sounds like CE to me.
Sap found everywhere, and IV track marks.
It was like cockroaches just scattering. They leave behind them bags of pasta water and hacky sacks. Cheese it, boys. It's the cops. Leave the Arcteryx behind.
Yeah, you never leave an Arcteryx behind.
Never leave an Arcteryx
Don't
behind.
leave that dead bird.
That's gang, baby. And that's on gang. Oh, man. Trent, what about the wokeness? From the outside looking in, from all the meme pages, you would assume that every single day you have to pledge allegiance. Oh, man, that was really close to me getting canceled. I'm glad I stopped myself there. But tell me about the wokeness. Do you have to renew your DE&I training every single morning when you get in? Because it's what it looks like from the outside.
Yeah. I mean, it's every odd day of the month. I think you have to rehack that. Actually, so it's really not that bad.
Did you just say odd? Ooh, man, you should have said even blind. Okay, well, that's -1.
Well, there's a thing about even numbers that they make sense and they can be cut in half, and that's why it's anyway. So yeah, you have to talk about this stuff all the time. You have to toe the party line of whatever administration is in office at the time, because those things change every few years, and right now it's really bad. So why would you join right now when all you have to do is kowtow to these people that have never done anything and they can't actually decide who they are as people. So that's what we do. That's 99% of team time right now.
99% of team time. That's it. And the other 1% is accepting it. So it's not even, do you have to like understand it and be sensitive to it, but you also have to accept and celebrate it. So, man, it's tough. I'll just say, straight up, the number one reason people get in is for service. And, that's stupid too. I think we've outlined a really good roadmap to show you that America is not worth it. The Constitution of the United States of America, it's just a piece of paper. You know what I mean? We could just delete it. It doesn't really like house our core values. It's stupid. Like without the government, you don't have rights. And that's how that works.
Again,
so
we could just, find and replace, just like we did with SR and SALT-E, and just click, and then whatever we need to put in there, we can do it.
Yeah, there's no.
There's a lot of examples of countries that do it better, right? Like these, like all the Nordic countries who have like the population of Los Angeles,
sure,
that are able to, they have all these free things, and free things are nice, free healthcare and free college, and all. They
really got it dialed in, and they only pay 70% in taxes.
Yeah.
Really, really got it dialed in up there, especially the Nordic countries. Now, granted, they're not diverse at all. When you point to a country that has zero diversity, zero immigration, and 70% taxes, you would think, well, that's a terrible place to live. But it's not. It's really good, Or like Argentina, they're crushing it. I think we should really look at Argentina, Canada, Justin Trudeau, who is definitely not Fidel Castro's son. Do not bring up the fact that Fidel Castro and Justin Trudeau's mom were together in Cuba preceding his conception and birth for almost 2 years together, and she glowingly wrote love letters to Fidel Castro. Do not bring that up. This is not the point, not the time. Okay, so
what are your sources on that, though?
Trudeau,
it sounds made up.
Stop it. Do not Google Justin Trudeau being Fidel Castro's son. That's not what we're doing today, Trent. That's a different show. Peaches is here. We got to really keep it up.
I love the way you're going with the Trump, like in Trump and Christie thing there. that's a slick move.
Nobody said it. Ron DeSanctimonious. He's got less votes. Who has less? Who gets attacked more than me? Nobody. Not DeSanctimonious.
You're right. Christie is not a fat
You're
pig.
Right.
You're right. We're not calling him a fat pig. We don't do that.
Saying,
we don't call him a fat pig. I'm not saying he's a fat pig.
Smart
people are saying he's a fat pig.
That's called paralepsis. Is the name of that thing. But it's the art of saying something, implication and saying outright, and then pretending like you didn't. Smart people are saying it. Smart people are saying don't join the Air Force. Not me. I'm not saying it, but basically everybody that has a smart opinion is doing it. To talk about the wokeness thing too. So, little teaser trailer. We recorded with the SEAC. So CZ, Chief Master Sergeant Ramon Colon Lopez, the SEAC. He just absolutely burned that stuff to the ground. He was like, people from the outside looking in think this is all it is, and it's really not. it's really not a thing that anybody cares about, and it's hampering because we were asking him about recruiting and retention. But he basically crushed that one. I thought it was a good answer, but I'm partial to CZ. So
yeah, well, yeah, I got a love affair with him, but man, I really hope that episode comes out. Real talk.
I know. Yeah, real.
I'm gonna tell you right now because I don't know if we're gonna release this beforehand or not, but apologize for the audio. For whatever reason, it was not, that connection with the Pentagon was
sporty, right? I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh man, we couldn't record on Riverside like we wanted to. I had to go to Zoom. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Let's see, more reasons not to join.
So you're about the equipment we have. Speaking of internet connections and all this other stuff, yeah, you're not gonna. It's all a lie. We don't have the best and all the other things and yada yada. We keep changing radios that catch people on fire. And then every 3 months,
right through you. Yeah,
it's like carrying lava around, and it doesn't work.
You know what? I actually heard. This actually is not a conspiracy theory. This is 100% true. You know what caused the Maui fires? A PRC 163.
I believe it.
It's a hot take.
Did you say hot take?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what a hot take means. So,
Trent, was that a pun?
I'm not allowed to pun today.
Trent. So the first thing that Trent did when we got on today is he looked at me. He was like, he's on his way. He's like, hey man. So I was looking at the YouTube comments, and it turns out everybody likes my puns. And I was like, fucking stop it. I've had it with you. That dive episode, he had like 5 or 6 puns that were just absolutely awful, and it really hurt my feelings.
We were almost not friends after that episode.
It was one of those where I hit end record, like leave session or stop session for all, and then I just left. Like I just got up from my computer and walked away. I just had to go.
So what is it going to do? Assuming you actually make it through, what does it do with your relationships with the people back home? Like how much do you lose that connection? I'm assuming you just go back home and things are still the way that they were, and you maintain all your friendships and they totally understand what you're doing.
Yeah, totally. When you go home on leave, it's basically a hero's welcome. You just hop right back in where you left off. You definitely don't go home and look around and go, wow, I'm not like these people at all. These same people in the same bars, in the same places, doing the same things, complaining about the same problems. We are exactly the same. I completely understand these people. They've done something really hard. My friend John, he works at a rim factory in Northeast Ohio, and he and I are exactly the same. I just got back from, you get back from a deployment, right? Like, and again, you're not going to be able to go deploy because it's never going to happen. Number one, so you should just quit. Number two, you're not going to go anywhere cool and do anything. You're probably going to do, global access. You won't even become a JTAC. But if, once you do go and you come back from like Africa or Iraq or Syria or Afghanistan or the next place we're going to go, you're going to look and you're going to be like, I mean, those experiences are essentially exactly the same.
Lots in common.
Lots to talk about. Yeah.
Can we talk about the global access thing? I've never heard anybody actually talk about it. So like, is it even real?
No.
It sounds made up. It sounds like, and we know that people have been put on global access teams and quit because of it. So like, is that how bad it is? Because no one knows what it is. No one's written a book about it. So obviously it's a whole bunch of garbage.
Well, as a controller, I don't know what it is.
Right. No. Yeah. Right. Because they don't, there's no global access weapons school. That should tell you everything that you need to know.
There you go. Right there. That's how you know it's all BS. There's no global access weapons school.
I've never seen a global access patch. I've never seen a global access shirt. I've never seen a global access flag.
Air Mobility Command. What?
I've never heard SOCOM ask for that capability either.
Never. No. Not one time has SOCOM been like,
get the global access boys on the phone. Get me black team now.
Yeah, none of my SEAL buddies are ever like, bring the global access guys. Never.
No, because you definitely don't need to land planes in the middle of nowhere. You don't need resupplies. You don't need to infill, exfil. You don't need any of that, really. It just
And if you do, you just do it on the fly. It's not. What do you need a mission plan that for? Like, I've been on one mission in my entire life that I didn't do anything for, but I took credit for. That mission did not have global access listed as a min-force requirement. It wasn't like when we were getting ready. Well, when the team was getting ready to leave, I was cowering in my bunk. When they were getting ready to leave, nobody was like, "Did you guys prepare the environment via global access techniques?" And they were like, "I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. We're just going to go put warheads on foreheads." And that's how they got mission approval.
Beat it, nerd.
Beat it, nerd. I was weird too when they kicked me off that mission. I was like, "Oh man, why can't I go? Is the helicopter too heavy?" And they're like, No, we're taking trucks. And I was like, "Okay, is there not enough trucks?" They were like, "No, we actually have too many of them. There's a whole bunch of up-armored MRAPs with drivers and everything. We just decided we don't want to take them." And I'm like, is it a mission requirement? And they were like, "No, you're just a piece of shit." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And that was my whole career. That's what I've lived my life off of.
Yeah, they never want another gun. They never want another competent shooter or anything like that. Nope.
Well, and the first thing that they do is they like ask. They're like, "Well, you know, this isn't a personnel recovery mission, right? So why would we bring a PJ?" You know, they look at the controller, like the SEALs and the Army and everybody else that needs a controller. They look at this isn't like a JTAC mission. So what would you even do? Yeah. Would you just like sit there? Like, I mean, I wouldn't even know, you know?
Yeah.
Plus it sounds dangerous.
I don't like getting shot at.
No. I wouldn't know. Now that everybody's doing TCCC in the Air Force, like why is PJ even relevant?
Oh, that's a good point.
We already have IDMTs. You know what I mean? Just throw a patch on an IDMT that says PJ and call it good. You're not jumping anyway. They don't need jump. You certainly don't need dive. He just knows what I'm talking about.
I've heard that.
There's only 2/3 of us with dive bubbles anyway, and one of us is gonna have to turn them in. What's up, beaches?
I'll make sure I'll rip that off my chest. We're good.
Again, we told that story during dive, but how many times have we taken that off of our uniform and put it back on? It's been like 4 times anyway, and then nobody can agree on the dive badge. There was like this big thing, like, oh, it's a new combat dive badge. You can't wear it, and then. Like we had guys that were like coming back from the top up. So they went through dive, they got open circuit, and then they had to go back and get the closed circuit top up in the last, few years. They're like, "What badge do I wear now? I don't care. The school gave me the salvage bubble, which technically I should wear. Like doing this extra thing doesn't make me a combat diver. It just qualifies me in SOCOM to do combat diving because I got the top up. But can I wear the badge?" It's the dumbest conversation. So I've just like the dive bubble thing just made me laugh. Like I distinctly remember sitting in England and no kidding in the team room, cutting the dive bubble off of our uniforms because AFSW was like,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. We pinned them up on a board. Like it was a joke in the silver team room. We cut them off our uniforms and we pinned them up on like a cork board in the room. We're like, "Hey, when we need these, and everybody like wrote their initials on it so you could tell which one was yours."
And how passionate people were. So when they were authorized again with the hard hat or the combat dive with the sharks, how people were so like, "You can't wear that. That's not authorized." And it's like, well, wait a minute. I went to get like for Key West. That's where I went. So that's the dive bubble I'm going to wear, and that's what I got.
Yeah,
it's we do some like all jokes aside, we do some very unusual things in the military. Like as a military as a whole, like there are some things that we pay attention to that we're like, and I get the standards, discipline, all that kind of stuff. Like, and I don't mean discipline as in punishment. I mean like good order and discipline kind of thing. But there is some shit that we worry about and spend effort and bandwidth on that is like, dude, what are we talking about here? Like, and that's not joking. There are some things that it's like,
it's wacky.
Rugby shirts. Who gives a shit about rugby shirts?
Everybody.
Really?
Everybody.
But apparently a lot of people do.
You are canceled now for even bringing that up.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get a phone call.
So there's a handy thing like in discourse and logic and stuff, and it's purposely explaining something out of context. So pretend like you're our favorite being, Trent and I. Pretend you're an alien and you have no idea about the military, right? And just try to explain like a very simple thing, like coming into your boss's office to ask a question. So you look at the alien and you go, all right, cool. Before I do it, I knock, but you only knock one time. And then you stand there in a certain body position. Like it's not a normal position. You stand there and you wait. And your boss, after tippity typing on his computer for a second, goes, enter. And you have to walk in, and it's really important, right? You got to walk in a direct line. You got to watch out for furniture, but you have to center yourself on his desk. Okay. And then you assume another different body position.
You mean her desk?
Her desk. And then you assume a different body position, right? So sometimes it's hands behind the back. Sometimes it's like this locked up straight thing. But then there are magic words that they can say, and they can make you change your body position. Like if they say parade rest, you're allowed to take a different body position. And these magic words that they have, you just do them. The alien would be like, what the shit are you talking about? Like, you can't just poke your head in and be like, hey, boss, can we release these guys for the day? Nope. You can't. You got to do a whole thing. And by the way, that's just a normal day of work. There are whole, like, God forbid you go before a promotion board. And the alien would be like, a what?
You're doing what?
Yeah. Fantastic. But you're right. There's tons of stuff that we do that if you just had no context and you had somebody explain it to you, you'd be like, why do you do that? And we're like, I don't know. It's just what we do.
So you know who's in charge. You got to know who's in charge. So
right.
Another reason not to be an enlisted person, especially.
Oh, man. Yeah, we haven't even covered that. We already covered why not to be an officer, but enlisted?
The worst. Sweating everywhere.
Just sweaties. I love that I hadn't heard the term sweaties before I went to Arctic Survival School, so this is a lifetime ago. But we were there with a bunch of officers that did not want to go, and it was me and my best friend. I think we were E4s at the time, so E4 Mafia stand up. So we were there, and no kidding, we did everything for the camp. Like, we chopped all the wood, we made the fire, like, we were just bebopping around, and this one major sits down that did not want to be there. Like, he was forced to go just because he happened to work in Alaska. And he looked at us and he was like, I really love you, Sweaties. You guys are really putting out. And I was like, what'd you call me? And he was like, no, sweaty. He's like, enlisted, Sweaties. You guys are always just doing stuff. You're always sweaty.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, it was the funniest. It was the funniest.
Here's my gripe about being enlisted. We join out of high school, theoretically, most of us, right? And the idea is, like, I don't want to go to college. But now, to make certain ranks in the Air Force, it's almost a requirement to at least have your associate's degree through the Air Force. And then if you don't have a bachelor's degree at some point in your career that you joined because you didn't want to go to college, you are looked down upon. It's like marked down against you, even though they say it's not. I think we all know that if you don't go to college while you're enlisted because you didn't want to go to college, then you're not going to get promoted.
It's almost like getting promoted as an enlisted person. You have to act like a junior officer. And then when you get to like E8, E9, they want you to conduct yourselves not like a chief should be terrifying. He should be the person stomping into your team room and telling you you're an idiot and that you're wearing the wrong clothes and you're doing the wrong things and you're not taking care of the spaces. That's what a chief is supposed to do. NCOs are supposed to be savages, especially in our career fields. E5, E6, those are your tactical level experts, your team leaders that should just be PTing all day, doing battle drills, shooting, and doing technical work. They should not be going to American Military University in their off time to get a degree that means nothing to their job just so they look better to get promoted to E7. That is stupid. That is the dumbest thing that we do. I don't know when it turned into this, but E8s and E9s that go get these business degrees so that they can sit and talk like, you're not a junior officer. You're a chief. You're a senior enlisted leader. You are supposed to be a terror. Like all the like, look at every movie about Vietnam. Like when we were soldiers once, Sam Elliott walking across that young lieutenant, every day. Oh, good morning, Sergeant Major. How the fuck do you know what kind of morning it is? How about you shut up and go do some work? That's what a E9 is. That's a chief. That's a sergeant major. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be just flipping tables over for the enlisted force all day long. And somehow we've lost it.
I am failing. I am no Sam Elliott.
That guy, that mustache.
I am no Sergeant Major Plums. Plumsley?
Plumley.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like I don't know when we kind of got away from that enlisted leadership where they're like, all right, well, you need to get a degree. Well, I don't want a degree. I don't want to go get a 4-year degree.
Well, there was nothing better than like going to like NCOA or ALS and having these chiefs sit on the panel and be like, when I was a senior airman before 9/11, I had plenty of time to knock out my bachelor's degree. There's no reason why y'all can't. And you're like in between all my train-ups and deployments and all these other things, but it's hard for enlisted, upper enlisted folks to look back and understand that things are different.
Yeah. So, and that's another reason not to join. Your leadership is completely out of touch. They have no idea. If you join AFSW War, you only need to go probably, 2 levels now before you get to somebody that doesn't wear a beret and never went through selection, telling you what selection is and telling you how to be a guy that wears a beret. I think like it's only 2 levels, right? So we got a wing commander.
No, you got in AFSOC, it's the group and then the wing, and then above that is the non-berets.
Right. Yeah. So literally the people, oh man, I don't know.
I gotta say, I think this is going to be funny, and I hope people are able to navigate this because we have for sure gone through satirical to serious to satirical to serious. We've got like just bounced.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what satirical
without
means.
separation.
It means jokes, Trent. I know. We do go on tangents where we talk about real stuff.
And real stuff, it's like
we go.
There's going to be so much confusion.
I'm okay with it. People will figure it out. And like, listen, everybody, we got together and we wanted to put together the reasons that we get for not joining, right? Like, obviously, the stuff that we're saying here is obviously a joke and it's obviously tongue in cheek because, of course, like, am I too old? Am I too young? What do my parents think? Like, all of these questions, I just laughed. I was like, you know what I'm going to do for this joke episode of reasons not to join? I'm just going to take all of the questions that we look at and we roll our eyes to. Like, oh, I heard it's so woke. I heard you're not going to be able to go do your job. I heard, you're not going to be able to get this school or whatever. Those aren't reasons not to join. You're making things up to make yourself feel better about your inability to commit to this thing. Like, we know it's scary. Of course, there are parts of this job that suck, but they're not reasons to avoid it by any means.
Nope. Sorry, I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I'm still in the other mindset. I'm sorry, I can't bust out of it. I'm like, why can't the sister services cover down on these things? Like, why is the Air Force ground force even necessary? Like, sorry, I just
keep going, Trent.
I'm still in character.
Ground force, land warfare force.
Yeah,
land
recce
warfare
guys?
component for the Air Force.
Yeah, other services have JTACs. Other services have, medics on helicopters.
Every service is supposed to be able to do self-recovery and self-SAR. Okay, fine. So I guess you don't need J's and Crows.
I mean, the Navy and the Marines have 5th gen aircraft. So
they really do. And now I just made all of even my own tribe angry. Shocker on this one. But I said J's as opposed to PJs, which is a funny thing.
Wait a minute. Is that not a thing?
It's totally a thing. Dude, I don't know.
I've always said J's.
Everybody
is it slander?
It's a slur, apparently. I
had no idea.
Dude, it's a funny thing to watch happen. It happens in some of the group chats every once in a while. Somebody will be like, oh, the young Jays from whatever. And you'll get like 5 or 6 people be like, Jays? What is a J? Are you just a jumper? Like, PJ doesn't mean pararescue jumper anymore. It's a retronym. It doesn't even mean anything. It means pararescueman. Like, everybody just says Jays colloquially. Like, it's just a term. And they're like, no, man, that's not it. It's PJs. It's not J's. Like, okay.
Man. Words mean things.
That's what we're caring about today.
Words do mean things, but hey, remember when we said earlier, like, man, the military gets hung up on some weird stuff like that. Like,
the communities
what are you spending your bandwidth on? And we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Like, what are you spending your time worrying about? Like, dude,
it's usually the most accomplished people that get hung up on these things, right?
Well,
no, I love that we've got.
That was totally a freaking.
It's Inception.
For me to bite.
I know it's Inception where it's like now. It's we're too deep. We don't even know when Trent is playing around and making jokes at this point now. Now Trent said something, and I'm like, I got to text Peaches. I'm like, is this mother serious?
So to my point 5 minutes ago was, if we can't tell when Trent's messing around, how is anybody else stand a chance?
This is a problem, actually.
It is a problem.
My wife has told me that I come across as an a-hole when I'm joking because I've gone too far.
Have you though?
Have you?
I mean, this is who I am.
Some would argue that you haven't gone far enough,
Some would argue,
and you haven't done enough in your career.
Some
Hey,
people
you
are
should
saying
probably
That's true.
take your ass back to the pool and do some 10-ups.
Some people are saying, Trent.
Some
there's a
people
pool
are
right
saying,
there.
I'm not saying it.
We're not saying.
But there are people, there's some very smart people out there that are saying that you should probably take your ass back to the pool.
Very smart people.
My 5-year-old is better with a snorkel than I am. Like, I just start choking. I'm like, ugh.
Okay, that's no longer a joke. That's true.
That's actually true.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Trent actually quit a WaterCon event with his kids at the pool one weekend, and we were all there to witness it. I just don't want to do this. I want to go out on my own terms. And then he left, and he went back to his house. It was really
There's
weird.
no water in Afghanistan, guys.
Trent's wife's like, Trent, we brought snacks. We have fruit snacks. Where are you going? That's not how she talks, but it's, this feels like a good place to end it. If you guys are still listening, listen, this episode was mostly jokes, right? It's okay to be cynical every once in a while. But when you have these questions and when you're like, oh, these are the reasons why we're not going to join, or when you go down too many rabbit holes and you follow too many meme pages and you think it's all fire and brimstone, it's really not. So hit us up. We'll have a real talk with you. We love you. Go over to onesready.com and check everything out over there. All of our partners are listed on the website. We got some website renovations that are coming up soon. Hopefully, we're going to get some stuff up on there. So check out everything that we got over there. Follow us on onesready.com and on the IG and on the YouTube. Leave a comment. We read them all and we really take them to heart. Okay? Every comment that you write, we really talk about, and we're really like, I think this is really good input. We should really talk about it as a team and really think about changing, specifically how we do stuff. That's a joke. That was the last joke of this one. We do not care. Anyway, thanks. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Everybody out there, train hard. Auf Wiedersehen.
Peaches.
Just with the water pouring from the mask coming out of the mouth. Yeah.
And that's when I quit.